Yeah, real fast. We in the building tonight, you know what I'm saying? Chicago. You know, we show a lot of love, you know, the world loves us deeply, you know what I'm saying? If you here with your best friend tonight, if you here with your family tonight, make some noise. So this is what I want y'all to do, right? Look to your left, look to your right, you know what I'm saying? Don't move with nobody you know one time, right? I want you to show love to them, shake their hand, give them a hug one time. See, they don't want to see Chicago like this. Yeah.
So he did it. He finally did it. Well, he did it 2 years ago. So all this time people been saying slide for Vaughn, slide for Vaughn. Bro, he been stood on business. In all seriousness, Lil Durk has been arrested on conspiracy to hire for murder charges. Essentially, as serious as it can get. And unlike 95% of reaction and news channels, I ain't here to call Durk stupid or dumb. Because he actually did exactly what he's supposed to do. Well, supposed to do as the head of a street gang, and that's seek revenge on behalf of his fallen friend. So he was standing on business, you know, like the whole internet was telling him to do. Slide for Vaughn this, slide for Vaughn that. Well, he certainly did that. But you see, it's all a trap. Because instead of playing the game, he let the game play him. Which is why the majority of real rappers end up dead or in jail. And based on how this entire beef started, over an absolute J-bag, aka Asian doll, it is absolutely diabolical. Two of the best ever artists from the drill era who actually became worldwide music stars and entrepreneurs completely finished. One dead and one looking at life in the feds, just like Durk prophesized himself. So I guess it's true when they say you reap what you sow, because as you will see from the case details, Durk was actually really living that life and is even named as the head honcho of OTF, which isn't just a music label, but in fact a violent and powerful street gang whereby members commit acts of violence and sell narcotics in order to rise in the ranks in return for money, status and respect. According to the indictment that was filed on Thursday night, Banks is the leader of the Chicago-based rap collective known as Only the Family, aka OTF, which is now recognized worldwide. Law enforcement believes OTF also acts as a group of individuals who engage in violence, including murder and assault, at Banks' direction and to maintain their status in OTF. And it's also alleged that the only reason that these guys all got caught up is because an OTF member themselves turned snitch. An OTF member is allegedly somebody by the name of OTF Jam, who had actually been in prison for 12 years and was released in 2022, but then he was picked up again on a gun charge in 2023. And this is allegedly when he revealed how OTF works and that they were the ones who are behind the killing of Quando Rondo's cousin. The indictment continues that Banks feuded with a victim identified in court documents as TB. The feud stemmed from a 6th of November 2020 murder in which an associate of TB shot and killed OTF rapper named Davon Bennett, aka King Von, which is of course referring to that night when King Von ran up on Quando Rondo and started to punch on him, and then his boy Lil Tim ended up killing King Von in self-defense. And if you don't know, in regards to that case, it looks like Lil Tim is not going to be charged with anything because essentially it is self-defense. But this all stemmed from something so pointless, so meaningless, and it was because King Von was upset that someone from the 4KT camp, supposedly NBA Youngboy, was talking to Asian Doll, which was his girl at the time. Which, if you don't know about Asian Doll, then it probably means you're on the higher IQ spectrum, so don't worry about that. Back to the case in hand and why Lil Durk is in handcuffs and in a cell and potentially facing the death penalty. It states that on August 19th, 2022, several OTF members and associates used 2 vehicles and worked in tandem to track, stalk and attempt to murder TB, Quando Rondo, for hours, culminating in a shooting at a gasoline station located near the Beverly Center Mall. The co-conspirators fired at least 18 rounds at TB's vehicle, striking and killing a victim identified in court documents as SR, who was TB's family member who had been traveling with him. Banks allegedly ordered TB's murder, and the hitman used money from Banks and OTF related finances to carry out the hit. So Lil Durk gave the order and then financed the whole thing. This essentially would have continued to go on unsolved if it wasn't for the snitch. But the snitch helped detectives put 2 and 2 together, and now there's a whole paper trail for them to follow, and it's led all the way back up to Lil Durk essentially giving out and financing this entire hit, you know, in revenge for King Von's death. Bank and flight records show that an OTF member and close associate of Durk coordinated and paid for 5 co-conspirators to travel from Chicago to California on the day of the murder. Around the time the one-way flights were purchased, Banks told the OTF associate booking the flights, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." The same day the hitman traveled from Chicago to California, Banks also traveled to California in a private jet with another conspirator, Kevon London Grant, aka Cuz, and Vonnie. Later that day, Grant allegedly purchased ski masks for the shooters to use to commit the murder and paid using a credit card in Banks' name for the other co-conspirators' hotel room. So you see, he didn't leave it all out. He didn't pay for the flights, but now the hotel rooms were paid under his name. Now remember, this is a conspiracy charge. Conspiracy charge work different than any other charge, okay? So it's a lot easier for the state to convict on conspiracy charges based on the legal legislation surrounding them and what you have to prove in order to get a conviction. So, there you go. Lil Durk sent out the hit, allegedly. Lil Durk financed it all, allegedly. And these guys tried to kill Quando Rondo, but ended up killing his cousin. All in the sake of sliding for Von. Now, I can see why people are gonna call Lil Durk dumb and stupid based on the position he is in, but that's exactly it. The reason why he is in that position he is in is because of the street stuff that he is doing. Not only because of his music, because we all know in order to reach certain heights in music, you gotta have certain credibility. Now there's a few that will slip through the cracks, not gonna name no names, but they don't receive the same love and adoration, especially from their hometowns, like people as Durk do. Now the reason why I'll get on board of where it's dumb and stupid is because this whole lifestyle is a trap. Lil Durk is in the same position as Chief Keef, and Chief Keef done the complete opposite to what Lil Durk did. Lil Durk remained in the streets at the same time as rising to the top of the music world. Why? Because that's the lifestyle he chose. At a certain point, you get to an age where it's nothing but choice. You begin as a product of your environment, but then you grow and you have awareness. And from there, you are responsible for your actions. Now, I'm a firm believer that in this life, you either do the work of God or of the devil. And if you choose the devil, he will eventually come to collect, and he will do so with a hefty interest. And whether or not you believe in religion, doesn't matter. This is how this realm operates, because your actions have a knock-on effect on others, and especially if you are somebody of influence, like a music artist, like Lil Durk is, you have the capability to influence the masses, which Lil Durk has done for 10 years plus now. And someone who heavily influenced the masses also is King Von, who literally made it popular and mainstream to be a killer and a rapper, as is proven based on where all the attention is currently going when it comes to street rappers, in particular in Chicago, sparking a whole new level of self-snitching. And Durk himself is accused of self-snitching multiple times, including on this whole situations where he says stuff like, "They can't tell me to slide for Von no more." Now, self-snitching in rap is almost inevitable when you're still living that life, as it seems Lil Durk was. As music is almost like a diary. It's people sharing feelings, thoughts and emotions through the art of music, which is why it's so influential. I myself really like Durk's music, especially the early stuff, 2011 to 2014 era. That's when I was listening to it heavy. I still remember the days I'd tell people put on some Durk and people would be like, "Who?" Literally, man, good times, good times. Well, back to the point. Durk unfortunately chose to continue to do the devil's work despite reaching these new levels of fame, success and power. Although recently it seems that he was constantly trying to do the better thing and to do the right thing. But as I speak about a lot, we all have a dark side and a good side. there's no such thing as an entirely good person. Everybody is capable of bad things, and based on the environment that Durk still surrounded himself within, he was essentially obliged to do those bad things, or at least he believed, because his self-image was reflective of that. Again, if you want to learn more about self-image, go subscribe to my personal channel and you will learn all about how you can use the power of the self-image to drastically change your life forever and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. In this day and age, not only are there plenty of prosperous opportunities to live a fulfilling and luxurious lifestyle that Durk achieved through rapping, but then influenced other people not only to try and rap, but to do the whole negative side of things, the street side of things that come with it. Because let's face it, Lil Durk has massively influenced the youth throughout the past 10 years. I saw it with my own eyes in the UK. We were heavily influenced by the drill culture, and that led to UK drill. And if you weren't already on the streets at that time, then a lot of people jumped off the streets and started trying to gangbang literally because of the Chicago drill wave. And you can't dispute me on this, because I was outside at them times and I know exactly what was going on and I experienced it firsthand. That being the case, the main reason that I discovered the street life is an absolute setup that nobody actually talks about is this. So listen up. In life, no matter how feared, how respected, how beloved, how much clout you have, there'll always be someone willing to snitch when it comes to the street shit. Why? Because there is something more important than all of those things I've listed, and it's freedom. Freedom is the only one that is priceless. As someone who has been snitched on a couple times growing up, I know how it feels, especially when it's someone you thought would hold it down, you know, since they signed up for this shit. But that's not the case, and that is why the street game is a stupid game to play. Why? Because the price that's on the line in that game is freedom. So why play a game where the consequence is so high and trumps every other human desire? At the end of the day, once you become in a state of awareness of that, you literally cannot play that game no more, because you realize it's a trap, and ultimately it is stupid. And that's something I realized at a young age and made me leave that life, because it's one you can never win. And again, like in the Durk situation, it forces you to cause pain and suffering to others. You don't have a choice. You literally have to constantly summon your dark side. What do you think that's doing to your soul? And the more powerful you become, the more you will have to use it to protect what you have and remain in that position, because you're surrounded by vultures, by scumbags, by wolves. In comparison to some other games, as the saying goes, what is it worth if it costs a man to lose his soul? Remember man, we all have a choice. Elevate or deteriorate. Love.